Okay, today we are talking about how to write and graph equations that are in slope-intercept form. And our objective is I can write and graph equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, so basically we're going to use our simple learner's question. How can I write and graph equations in slope-intercept form? Okay, sometimes we get a little bit more complex, but we're not going to today. So it says, go back to your day 7 notes and write the slope-intercept form of an equation with slope m and y-intercept b. Okay, so if you flip back to your day 7 notes, you will find that y equals mx plus b is slope-intercept form because I have slope and intercept, specifically the y-intercept. Okay, so when we write an equation, we leave the y and the x, okay, and we will be replacing the m and the b with the appropriate slope and y-intercept. So when I'm looking at a graph and I'm trying to write an equation in y equals mx plus b in slope-intercept form, I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. So we're looking for slope and y-intercept. Okay, well here, y-intercept is pretty easy. My y-intercept on this graph is 1. Okay, now remember slope, I can think of as rise over run. Okay, so I'm seeing how far it rises, so that's plus 3, and to the right 1. So 3 over 1 is 3. So then when I write my y equals mx plus b equation, I have y equals 3x plus 1, because I've replaced the y-intercept with, or the b with the 1, and the m with the 3. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. Okay, b. Okay, so on b, my y-intercept is 4. Okay, and then I got to find another good point. Here's a good point. Okay, so I'm going, and I always look left to right. Okay, so or you can do rise, which is plus 2, and then left 1, which remember left is negative, or you can say I'm going down 2, which is negative, and right 1, which is positive. So if I do 2 over negative 1 or negative 2 over 1, well, those both equal negative 2. So it doesn't matter which way you go as long as you're doing rise and run and paying attention to if you went up or down, left or right. Okay? So that's my m, that's my slope. So when I have my y equals mx plus b equation form, okay, the 2 goes in, or the 4 goes in here, and the negative 2 goes here. So it'd be negative 2x plus 4. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do c. Okay, so here my y-intercept is negative 3. And then I'm looking for my slope, and it's going to be a positive slope because it's going to the right. Remember, up and to the left, or up and to the right means positive. On this one, I could have looked at this and said, well, I know it's going to be a negative slope because when I'm going left to right, I'm going down. So that means my slope needs to be negative. Okay, so over here, I know my slope is going to be positive, and it's not very steep. So I think it's probably going to be less than 1, but we're going to find out. Okay, so my rise is 1, and my run is 2. So if I do 1 over 2, well, that doesn't simplify, that's just 1/2. So it would be y equals 1/2 x. That 1/2 has replaced the m. And then I have minus 3. Okay, because my y-intercept is negative, it's minus 3 instead of plus 3. Okay? Okay, go ahead and do the you try problem. Okay, example number 2. The line models the relationship between a temperature in degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit. Write an equation for the line where x is the temperature in degrees Celsius and y is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Then find the Fahrenheit equivalent for 18 degrees Celsius and the Celsius equivalent for 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, I think I'm going to need a calculator on this one. Okay. So instead of being able to do rise over run this time, I'm going to have to use these 2 points to find the slope using my slope form. Okay, so remember my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have these 2 points. There's my y-intercept right there. Okay, so that's helpful. Okay, so then if I have 0, 32, that's my x1, y1, and this is my x2, y2. Okay, so then I have 104 minus 32 over 40 minus 0. Okay, 104 minus 32 is 72 over 40. Okay, well remember, I'm guessing when I divide this, it might be pretty. 1.8, but I'm gonna try to find the fraction for this because it's easier to graph that way. Okay, so I can divide those both by 8. Okay, so 72 divided by 8 is 9, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. So there's my slope. Okay, so now if I write my equation, y equals 9/5 x plus 32. Okay, so there's my equation. Okay, so my slope went in before the x, and my y-intercept went at the end. Okay, so now I have to find the Fahrenheit equivalent for 18 degrees Celsius. So remember, x is Celsius, so this is x. I'm plugging that in for x. So y equals 9/5 times 18 plus 32. Okay, so I'm just going to plug that in. 9/5 times 18 plus 32. So I just typed that right in there, and I got 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And remember, y is degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so this is in degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now they also wanted me to find it for the Celsius equivalent for 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I'm plugging this in for y. I'm going to turn my paper to make it a little bit easier to work. Okay, actually I'm not going to. So 200 is going to go in for y. 200 equals 9/5 x plus 32. Okay, so here's where equations comes back to haunt you if you don't remember. Okay, remember we go backwards PEMDAS. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. So when I do that, I plug that into my calculator, 200 minus 32 equals 168. So I have 168 equals 9/5 x. And then remember, when I have something like this, I multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by 5/9. Okay, so times 5 divided by 9, and I get 93.333333. Okay, so 93.3 degrees Celsius. Okay, because I solved for x. Okay, because that went away. So I solved, whoops, I'm sorry, you can't see that. So I solved for x. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and do the U-try number 2. Okay, example number 3. Graph the equation y equals x plus 4. So now we're going backwards. This time they're giving us the equation and we have to graph it. Okay, so I'm going to think about what my y-intercept and my slope are. Okay, so my y-intercept on this is going to be 4. And then my slope, or my m, well, there's no number in front of x, so what number technically is right there? It's a 1. Okay, so that means my slope is 1. So I'm going to start at 4. Okay, and then I'm just going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, and I'm going to go backwards a little bit. Okay, so that has a slope of 1. Don't forget to draw your line through there. See if I can use this to do my line. Okay, so there's my line for y equals x plus 4. Okay, go ahead and do the U-try. Okay, now we're going to graph this one. We're going to graph both of these, and then the U-tries are down there. Okay, and this should actually be 4 and 5. Example 4, example 5, U-try 4, and U-try 5. I guess I got a little bit off when I was doing that. Okay, so here's my slope-intercept form. I need my y-intercept and my slope. Those are the two things I need to graph. Okay, So my y-intercept is going to be -5. And then my slope, remember, is whatever's in front of the x is 1/4. Okay, so if I start, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're kind of hard to see. Okay, so I'm at -5, and then I'm going up 1/4. Remember, up, right. Okay, rise over run. Okay, so up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I can go down and to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's my 3 points that I need. Remember, always 3 points. That helps it, makes your line easier to draw. Okay, so there's that line. Okay, so we're just taking what we learned when we were writing equations and using it to draw the graphs to begin with. Okay, so now I have y equals -2x plus 3. Okay, so again, you're always going to think, what's my y-intercept and what's my slope? Okay, so my y-intercept here is 3, and my slope is -2. Okay, so that is either -2/1, which would be left, oops, nope, I'm wrong, down and right. Remember, up or down first, left or right second. Okay, or 2/-1, which would be up and left. Okay, but I'm always starting, remember, my y-intercept is my initial value, so I'm starting at 3, and this has a negative slope, so I should be going this way. Okay, not this way. It should be going left to right, down. Okay, so I can either go down and right or up and left. And I'm going to do a couple more. Okay, so you can always check up, over, up, over. It should always be the same. Okay, so then I can draw my line. I'm going to flip my paper over here and use this side. Okay. If you can't do it, get a ruler or use the side of a piece of paper, whatever works best for you. Okay? Okay, go ahead and do the U try 4 and the U try 5.